Honest J. Nowak. Oh yeah. A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to HJN. So here on Honest J. Nowak, let's go ahead and start talking more about Nintendo-based games, because I feel like that a lot of times people might actually want to start requesting certain things out there. And if there's one request that I can recall in particular that at least a few people have been wanting me to do since day one, it would be about a famous Nintendo-based game franchise known as Zelda. Zelda, of course, was just one of the many franchises that Nintendo had made a very successful profit from. In the same way that Super Mario, Duck Hunt, and a few other types of games out there have really gotten very popular throughout the years, and even to this day we still do get some game adaptations based off of them. And there were occasionally movies based off of some of them, and television shows. We all know that Mario and Zelda had had their own television show at the height of their own popularity, around the same decade that they came around with as well. I mean, that was pretty awesome. But nonetheless, to talk about Zelda itself, where can I pretty much begin? I mean, considering how I have not played any of the Zelda games in my whole life, I don't even know where to begin here. I did own a few Nintendo consoles, admittingly, but out of all of them, there were no Zelda games that I played from them. I feel like I've missed out on a whole lot, and I don't know how you guys would feel about it. I've never played a single Zelda game. But you know what? That's why Google and YouTube and many other platforms out there are here to save the day once again. Because to the best of my knowledge, I've seen a lot of AVGN, I've seen a lot of Scott the Woz, I've seen a lot of the Gaming Historian, I've seen a lot of Nintendo and World of Long Plays. They've basically done a lot of that good stuff to cover a lot of games and the like. So, let me just talk about Zelda from the top of my mind. It is a fantasy-based game about a character called Link. I don't know why they call it The Legend of Zelda, because at one point in the Philips CDI console, which was a CD-based console with a wireless controller, that thing was enormous. In an AVGN episode that had showcased the ginormous Philips CDI that happened to work pretty good, I will say for sure that there were 3 Zelda games that were pretty much involved within the Philips CDI while it was around during the early 90s. But of course, they were all bad. Zelda the Wand of Gamelon, Adventures of Link, and Zelda something. I don't really know what that was on the top of my head, but it's crazy to know that during the time Nintendo had tried to make a CD-based adaptation with Philips, it was just a bad thing that came out. Philips CDI had 3 horrible Zelda-based games and kind of a bad Mario game. Hotel Mario, that is. But I will say for sure that even to this day, Zelda does have a lot of fame and a lot of popularity even to this day. And to my knowledge, probably one of the most recent game titles that are Zelda-based was called Breath of the Wild. Might have been made for the Switch, could have been made for the Wii U, I don't even know at this point. Because the thing is that I've been so hooked up on Sega, and I've already talked a lot about Sega back then, and I've really grew up with Sega, really know so much about Sega. I had a lot of Sega games, even though the majority of Sega-based consoles came from third-party developers like Radica, and well, the most recent Sega-based game collection that I got, which was a multi-disc, came out on the Xbox 360. And that was the most recent time that I'd ever had any Sega games that I could play in recent times, whether I could have emulated them or not. So, that's just pretty much all I have left to talk about Zelda. I'm hoping that you Zelda fans out there can forgive me for at least trying to talk about the subject itself, but I just don't really know much about it. So I'm hoping that I don't get the finger for it, or nothing at all, really. That's what I'd rather have at this point. So that's pretty much all I got to talk about Zelda here. But if you want to see more, go down to my channel. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.